Hello everyone, how's it going? So welcome to another Patron / Twitch subscriber exclusive video. So this one's going to be a little strange for some of you. For some of you, you're going to be like, oh, this is awesome. So this, for those that do not know, is Runescape. This is specifically the modern version known as Runescape 3. Which, funny note on that, when you capture this window, the game window for it is called RS2 client, you know, like RuneScape 2 client. Find it kind of funny that they haven't updated that. But anyway, so there's also an old school version of RuneScape. That one is actually like 4 times more popular than this one. But considering this game is over 17 years old now, it still pulls pretty good numbers. Like, I think there's about 15 to 20,000 people online right now. And on old school, there's like 50 to 60,000. So anyway, I kind of played both a little bit, but I more played this one, and I sort of just only really played the other one to do PvP, because for most people, that's why they prefer the old version, is that the PvP on this game is basically non-existent, whereas on old school, it's like, it is the be-all, end-all. So I'm just sort of going to be playing this in the background a little bit. I'll probably talk about what I'm doing as we go along, just so you sort of understand. But it's just going to be sort of a rambly video where I talk to you guys and just sort of talk about some stuff. Probably going to talk about pro wrestling, probably going to talk a little bit about RuneScape and what have you. So if that sounds like fun to you, awesome. If it doesn't, then there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass on the way out. So what I'm doing at the moment is, this is called Barrows. Now, for my combat level, I'll show you my stats, I guess. Yes, I've played this game a lot. I started playing this actually, I think about a year, maybe less than a year after it came out. So it came out 2001, so I started this, let's say, about 2002. So when you consider that, you know, it's a lot of no-lifing, but spread across 17 years. Is that better than just no-lifing for like a year or two? I don't know. I've also taken quite literal years off of this game at a time, so, you know, anyway. So this is the Barrows, as I was saying. It's not really optimal, quote-unquote, you know, money-making or anything like that for my level. It's just something I kind of enjoy doing, so I do this to relax, you know. I usually, like, watch videos or whatever else I'm doing, because it's the sort of thing you really don't need to concentrate on. As you can see, these things aren't really hitting me. So there's, like, 6 sarcophagi, 6 of these brothers. There's actually technically 8 of them, but originally there's 6. We're going to be killing 7. The 8th one has, like, well, okay, these things have, like, what, 12,000 HP? I want to say the 8th one has, like, 200,000 or something ridiculous like that. Like, it takes so fucking long to kill it, it's just, it's not worth it. It sucks. Actually, I think it might be 100,000. Either way, it's like 10 times what they have. It takes way too long. She's super tanky, annoying, don't like her. Now, her gear sells for a lot. And you'll notice they're not dropping anything. The way the drops work is, you'll see there wasn't a brother there. That's the entrance to the sort of underground catacombs. And when you're down there, you go through a very small section. It's like a 3x3, and there's only one route through it. The route is randomized. You get a loot chest in the middle, and you have a chance of getting one of their items in the loot chest. They actually have a pretty high drop rate, and this stuff sells for, you know, a reasonable amount, considering, A, this content's been out for, like, over a decade, I think, and B, you know, what was the B point I was going to make? Oh, how common they are. Yeah, they're not exactly rare. Having said that, I've been having many dry runs, which sounds like some sort of weird, you know, bowel condition, for, I don't know, man, like, I'm well overdue a drop, put it that way. Now, the good thing about the Barrows is that you do get runes. Runes are what you use to cast magic. And some random things like that from the chest. So even if you don't get a drop, per se, you still make money. So, I don't know. This is the sort of thing, I don't do this all the time, but I do like doing Barrows now and then. So I just figured it was something I could do in the background. I didn't bloody know. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's, hopefully you understand what is going on with this. Now, I only heard about this recently. Well, I heard about it for a long time ago, but the notion is that essentially you see up there we have, like, creatures slain. You see the kill count went up to 1 because we killed 1. I was told years ago that, you know, you want to get about 8 kills before you open the chest. I thought it was just, you know, a rumor. Because it's one of those things, people always come up with bullshit like that, you know, it just sounds like bollocks to me. But apparently a mod actually confirmed it like a year or 2 ago now. So I've been trying that. I've been trying to get this 8 kill count. I'm just saying, I haven't had a drop in ages, so maybe it's actually hurting my drop rate. I don't really know. But I figure it can't really hurt, but it seems to be. Or at least it's certainly not helping, but I don't know. I think at the least you get more runes and what have you, even if you don't specifically get an actual drop more often. Though, apparently it affects that too. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing in the background. So now you know. Oh no, my Juju agility potion wore off. Whatever will I do? So, yeah, I'm going to talk a little tiny bit about pro wrestling. I don't know how super long this video is going to be. It's probably not going to be crazy long. And if you would like to see more of these sort of RuneScape one-off video thingies, you see what I mean? We made like 100 grand there. No actual drop, but we made 100 grand. 100 grand is 100 grand. I will take it. It's basically peanuts, but I will take it. Yeah, so, God, where do I begin? So, for those who do not know, I do watch professional wrestling. Now, the thing with professional wrestling is that it is inherently... Well, okay, let me preface this by saying, the thing about WWE, because there's all types of, you know, different professional wrestling. There's, you know, small indie companies, there's TNA, etc., etc. WWE is the big one, right? Like Kane, The Undertaker, Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock. That's the one everyone knows, right? That's where they came from. The thing about WWE is that it is inherently awful 50% of the time. Maybe not quite 50% of the time. Maybe like 30-40% of the time. It's awful. But it's one of those things, when it's good, it's pretty damn good, alright? So, what they've been pretty bad at lately is listening to the fans. I'm sure you all know about the Roman Reigns thing, but I'm not really going to go into it, because it's kind of irrelevant now. He, I guess I need to... let me try and do this in like 2 sentences so I don't have to keep going over the Roman Reigns thing. Basically, every single sort of generation, Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, will pick his next guy, and that is the person he pushes down everyone's throat. So, you know, there was Hulk Hogan, there was people before Hogan, but as far as I'm aware, there was Hulk Hogan, and then, you know, there was Stone Cold, and then after Stone... and sort of The Rock as well, sort of up there, but Stone Cold was more the guy than The Rock ever was, believe it or not. And then after Stone Cold, I'm pretty sure John Cena was the next one, and I'm sure a lot of you have at least heard the name John Cena. And that's because he was chosen. He was the chosen one. He was the guy shoved down everybody's throats. He went through years, like the better part of a decade, of basically never losing a match. And frankly, John Cena, for someone who had as much experience as he did, wasn't a very good wrestler. Neither was Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan to this day is still not a good wrestler. I mean, he's also like 75 years old. He's not actually 75, but you know, he's an old ass man. So I'm not saying like he should be in fit fighting shape and able to put on, you know, amazing matches these days. But I'm talking like even in his prime, Hulk Hogan was nothing special. He's also a horrible racist. But let's not go into that. So anyway, after John Cena, who is still under contract and does occasionally show up, but he's almost retired, there was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns shoved down everyone's throats. Everyone booed him, even though he was supposed to be the good guy. Kept winning belts. Always was in the title picture, even when he didn't have the belt, etc., etc. You get the idea. He walked out on Raw a couple of months ago now, maybe not even that long ago. I think about a month. And who have we not killed? Oh, Darok. The Darok. Yeah, he came out and he was like, I had leukemia like years ago. I battled it. I won. Leukemia's back. I gotta, you know, take time off to deal with my health. Which sucks, right? As much as no one, well, not no one, there's obviously suckers that fell for it, but as much as a lot of people didn't want Roman Reigns shoved down their throat, a lot of us, of course, we don't want to see the man, because, you know, at the end of the day, he's an actor, right? Like, that's what pro wrestling is. It's acting. It's bad acting, but it's acting. His real name's Joe Anoa'i, I think that's how you pronounce it. You know, his real name isn't Roman Reigns. It's a stage name. He's an actor, essentially. No one wanted, you know, Joe the man to get a life-threatening disease, you know? So, I wish him all the best, etc., etc. So that's why we don't really need to go into the Roman Reigns thing. I kind of remember why I brought this up, but yeah, so wrestling, it's very hit or miss, I guess, is the point I'm making. So, I'm sure a lot of you heard about what happened in Saudi Arabia, but if you didn't, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia actually arranged for a journalist, I think he is, to get murdered. He got murdered in the embassy. I think it was the Turkish embassy or something like that. But anyway, so, you know, that's crime. That's not cool. And this has been confirmed by, I think it was the CIA or the FBI now. And, WWE had held one pay-per-view, which is an event that, you know, you pay extra money for to see, or you just subscribe to the network. They'd held one pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia about 6 months before this murder of this Khashoggi guy. So, when they announced this next pay-per-view, they announced it, I think, just before this happened. And suffice to say, people didn't react terribly well to that. The reaction was, why are you, you know, making financial dealings with a communist country where someone got murdered? And the reason he was murdered, by the way, was because he spoke out against Saudi Arabia. So that's pretty fucked up. So yeah, it wasn't 100% confirmed that the Crown Prince ordered it, but everyone knew it before they went there. And it even went to the point of they went from being like, we're going to, you know, the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia to put on Crown Jewel, because Crown Jewel was the name of the pay-per-view. And they just went to not mentioning Saudi Arabia at all for like a month straight. When they were promoting this pay-per-view, they just said Crown Jewel, and they were referring to it as an international event or whatever they were saying. So they completely disconnected themselves from Saudi Arabia, at least verbally. You know what I mean? They still went there. They still put on the pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. And even, I watched the pay-per-view, and even on the pay-per-view, they're like, hello, and welcome to Crown Jewel. And they never once, even throughout the entire pay-per-view, mentioned that it was from Saudi Arabia. So, you know, fans weren't exactly happy with that, because, you know, when you support a company, it's nice that they don't treat you like a piece of shit. It's the same equivalent in the gaming industry when, you know, you've got, like, EA trying to milk your utter tits for every little microtransaction they can, and what are they called? Bethesda, like, shitting out Fallout 76 and really clearly not putting that much effort into it, you know? It's still got the same UI and everything from Fallout 4. Like, it really should have been updated in many ways to account for it being a multiplayer game, but they just didn't. So, you know, it's the same sort of feeling where it's like, why are you treating your fans like this? But anyway, so we don't know if they're going to put on another pay-per-view there. What we do know is they had, I think it was either a 9-year or a 10-year contract with Saudi Arabia, and they're getting paid back. I think it's $45 million per pay-per-view. So if they do 2 of those a year, which they have been doing, you know, again, there was one 6 months ago and one, like, last month or whatever, well, I guess about 7 months ago now, and one, like, last month. So that's about $90 million in the span of a year. You times that by 10, I'm sure you can do the math there. That's $900 million. It's basically $1 billion contract. That's pretty fucking crazy. That's a lot of money. You will die, Skeleton Man. You will perish at mine hands. They kind of rhymed. Yeah, so that was controversial. And the thing is as well, the pay-per-view, Crown Jewel itself, if we put aside the politics and all that stuff, was shit. Like, it wasn't very good at all. There were just so many bad decisions being made and stuff like that. Like, for example, Vince McMahon's son is called Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is not a wrestler, however, he wrestles. Okay? He wrestles like 2 or 3 times a year, something in that region. And they always have him going against people like I mean, admittedly, The Undertaker is getting on a bit, shall we say. I think he's like 54 now or something. He's no spring chicken, we'll put it that way. The Undertaker, not a spring chicken. So, you know, but at the same time, he's Shane McMahon. He ain't even a wrestler, but whatever. So they have him go toe-to-toe with people like The Undertaker and stuff like that, and it's ridiculous. But, you know, he's the son of the promoter. He's the son of the guy who owns the bloody company. So this shit happens. So they had this... I have to go into this. So, because they want, or rather, Saudi Arabia want all of these pay-per-views held in Saudi Arabia to be unique and feel different and feel special and all that shit, they have a gimmick every time. This one's gimmick was they had a World Cup tournament. Note the name World Cup. If I said to you, we're going to hold a World Cup tournament, you would expect people from all over the world, right? Every single wrestler that qualified for this tournament was American. There was one Hispanic, Rey Mysterio. Yes, Rey Mysterio is still wrestling, even though he's like 50 years old as well, which kind of drives me nuts, because I watched Rey Mysterio 10 years ago now, and he was way past his prime then. The fact that he's come back to WWE now kind of pisses me off. No offense, Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio fans, but like, you weren't good 10 years ago, Rey. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Anyway, so, everyone who qualified for this, besides Rey Mysterio, were, you know, straight up Americans. And then you got Rey Mysterio, who was born in Miami, so he's still American. Yes, he's got Hispanic heritage, but he's still American. every single person in this tournament called a World Cup was American. So right off the bat, it's pretty fucking silly, but whatever, I'll overlook it. But then the tournament happened, okay? So they did this stupid bracket thing where it was the, you know, like a Raw person versus a SmackDown person. And then it got down to the last two, which were both heels. Heel means bad guy in professional wrestling. So that was kind of strange. So they had Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, okay? Both pretty good. I like them both, okay? But also, a little weird having a World Cup tournament to... Oh, by the way, the whole point of this tournament was to find out who is the best in the world. That was their quote. Best in the world if you won this. You were the best in the world. No, there's two world champions. There's a world champion on SmackDown, and there's a world champion on Raw. He's referred to as the Universal Champion, but it's a world champion belt. Neither of the world champions are in the best in the world tournament. That seems a little silly, but you know, it's professional wrestling, like I say. It's kind of dumb. So, the final was Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, like I say. And then, pretty much immediately in the match, The Miz jumps off the ring apron and does this thing where he's like, oh, my leg! And it was very obvious that there was nothing wrong with his leg. You know, you can usually tell when it's a legitimate injury and when they're just, you know, faking it because it's part of the storyline. So this was part of the storyline. And, Shane McMahon, being, the general manager of SmackDown, and The Miz being a SmackDown wrestler, and I quote, wanted so bad for SmackDown to win this tournament that he's like, no, I'm going to replace The Miz in the tournament. So he replaces The Miz. He jumps in the ring, he does about 3 moves, and pins Dolph Ziggler. I'm trying to click my fingers here. Pins Dolph Ziggler like that. Boom. Shane McMahon is now considered the best in the world. I get it, it's pro wrestling, right? It's dumb. But, like, there's dumb and there's, like, you're spitting in my face. Like, come the fuck on. So, yeah. Pro wrestling. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. Oh, by the way, before we finish up the video here, because we're probably going to finish it pretty soon. We've been going the better part of 20 minutes. I want to keep these, somewhere around there, you know. As opposed to my usual videos, which are, like, an hour. And more like 3 hours, because they're usually a live stream. I'm trying to keep these ones a bit shorter, a bit sweeter, you know, more bite-sized for people that want the more personal recorded stuff as opposed to the long live streamy stuff. So hopefully you understand. But yeah, before we finish, I'll go to the Grand Exchange, which is the auction house, essentially, for those that are confused. And I'll show you what I'm trying to do there. I'm trying my hand at flipping, which is essentially merchanting items by buying them and then selling them for a bit more than you paid. My god, there's so many different things, but they're all junk. Still dry, still no Barrows items, man. I gotta say, I feel ripped off. I'm not gonna lie. That is not what I meant to do. All right, let's go get our prayer back, and then we'll go grab it. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many things I can talk about in pro wrestling. I could talk about the whole Becky Lynch situation. I could talk about the Charlotte becoming the new Becky Lynch, or at least that's what they're trying to do. But it ain't never gonna work. There's so many things, man. It's just pro wrestling is again maybe shit 30 to 40% of the time. But one thing I will say is what I love about the pro wrestling community is there are tons of wrestling podcasts you can listen to. Some of them are really good. One of them I listen to is called the PW Torch podcast by Wade Keller. He does a Raw review and a SmackDown review. If you like wrestling and like podcasts, I recommend him. I like Wade Keller. He's a good guy. Anyway, so let me get to the point. What I like about the pro wrestling community is that when something dumb happens, you can listen to a podcast and they will call it out. They'll be like, what the fuck was that shit? And you can be like, yes! He agrees with me, that was dumb, and it's awesome because you get to revel in, you know, you get to make fun of it together, so it's kind of fun. Anyway, so you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to buy 10 of these God Swords, 2 of these Elysian Shields, Elysian, however you say it, 2 Divine Shields. I bought 1 Bando's Chestplate for 3,173,100 GP. I put the extra 100 in there to make sure I got it. And I'm trying to sell them for 3.25. I did buy an Armadillo crossbow. Was it the crossbow? What did I sell? I sold something. I think it was the Armadillo crossbow. Yeah, because it's not in here selling right now. So I bought one of these. Half that price, and that's... Oh, actually, no, that's the price individually. So I bought one of these for that, and I think I sold it for 4.1. So I made, like, 82 grand-ish. Well, 81.5-ish. So, you know, 81 grand, not a lot of money, but if you can get all of this stuff overnight, or at least a bunch of it, and then flip it in the morning, you can make, you know, $1 million, a couple of million, by not really doing a whole hell of a lot. And you got to start somewhere, right? So I'm just sort of, I'm testing, you know, dipping my toe in the water here, trying my hand at flipping stuff, see if I can pull it off, because it's not something I've really done since actually, I think the beginning of RuneScape 2. So that was about 2004. Yes, it's been over a decade since I flipped anything. It's been a while. Let's see what we get out of the stupid treasure hunter thing. I don't like this treasure hunter thing. No one does. This is basically microtransactions. You do get these keys for free occasionally when you're playing the game, so you can get a small lamp. You can be like, I'm going to put this, I don't know, put it in Slayer, fuck it. Yeah, or choose a second skill. Agility, so I have to do less running around a fucking course. Fantastic, thank you. So there you go. Let me know if you'd like to see more RuneScape stuff. I could probably do some quests on camera. The question is actually pretty good. This one I did today, without spoiling too much, because I'm sure someone cares about spoilers. So in the game, there originally was a place called Tutorial Island. So when you created your character, you would begin on Tutorial Island, obviously, and you couldn't talk there, but you could see everyone else that was on the island, and you had to go through a strict, like, you know, here is how you do combat, here is how you make a dagger, here is how you mine, here is how you fish, etc., etc., cooking, all that stuff. So very nostalgic. However, they removed Tutorial Island and replaced it with a sort of more interesting tutorial and beginning to the game, in I think Berthorpe, which is like a city sort of area. And Tutorial Island was gone. But in the lore, it sank into the sea and disappeared. In this quest, you actually get to return to Tutorial Island by going under the sea and swimming around it, and you find the tutors that were there, but they've been turned to like these fishmen, and you have to redo, because they've been cursed, and you have to, that's the whole reason it sunk, because it was cursed, you have to redo the Tutorial Island thing, but you know, with a twist. To break the curse. It's very cool. I like it. That was nostalgic. But yeah, there's a bunch of more advanced quests. I think if we go to difficulty. So these are Grandmaster quests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Grandmaster quests to do. They usually take upwards of 3 hours and usually get, you know, some good lore cutscenes, maybe voice acting, that sort of thing, puzzles to do. So if you would like to see me do some of those for some of the Patron / Twitch subscriber exclusive content, then that's also a possibility. If you want to hear me talk more about pro wrestling, that is also a possibility. You let me know and we'll figure something out. I'm trying to figure out a series that I can do for you guys. But also there is going to be the odd one-off thing where I'm just like, I'm going to play this Reigns game just randomly, like that sort of thing. But yeah, you let me know if this appeals to you. I guess I'll judge by the likes and the comments and whatnot on the video. So yeah, obviously the liking doesn't normally matter for these videos, but for this one, consider it a way of you giving me feedback. And again, you feel free to leave a comment. But let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you, of course, to the patrons, and I will thank you personally here as well, even though I find it maybe slightly strange thanking you on a patron video. Well, I guess maybe it's not that strange. Is it strange? I don't know. Oh my god, I have so many pages open. Holy shit. Alright, hang on. How am I going to do this? I can't. Okay, there we go. Wait, where'd it go? What the fuck? I can't scroll. Oh my god. I have broken... Oh, there we go. Okay, it's working. For some reason, I couldn't scroll. You know, like on your favorites, where you bookmark something on Google Chrome. Couldn't scroll, but it's working now. Okay, so thank you very much to Dr. Pap, Penguin, Rohan, Donnie, Shadow Sephiroth 666, Jeremy Burris, Philip Rep, Luna Parker, Vincent Clark, Fume Knight, George Blackwell, Black Wolf 8994, Billy 9, Ixa, Miss Justice 83, Hitbox, Nuria, and Pedro Marquez. I feel like that's been updated. I feel like that is different from the last time I read it. It looks different. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Couldn't do this without you, of course. I appreciate the hell out of it. And, of course, thank you to all of the Twitch subscribers. You guys are awesome as well. I love you. Thank you, everyone. Like I say, let me know if you want to see more of this. And, yeah. Goodbye.